Hi. So it's 4 a.m. and what better thing to do than do some work, right? Anyway, in this video, I want to talk about some of the ways humanity is being messed with, and it's kind of like an interesting thing. I just finished the session, and it has some connections with our past lives, but bigger thing, the third party groups that we do not suspect. Like we're being attacked by different forces where there's the entities, let's say, oh, we have reptilians and mantis and some other creepy ass guys attacking us. And why are they doing this? Like, why are we the ones experiencing all the suffering and all the crap? And here it is. I'm doing this session and I'm fighting this basically in the fourth dimension specific group of humans. And they're pretty much the black magic users, the bad ones, in a way where think of the pedophiles of this world with human sacrificing, raping, pedophilia, and just like all the worst thing you can imagine. And at the same time, like summoning demons and just like doing all the worst stuff possible. With that, this specific black magic user group has some great abilities. Like think of, let's say, radio, and you're listening to the radio like, oh, this is like a nice channel, like I like the music here. But with them specifically, they can literally tune in to any realm they want. That being, let's say we're like, oh wow, I have this like channel where I can listen to the police chatter, or like, oh, I'm tuning into the medical place or whatever. Like we're like really interested into what can we find out there. Now with this black magic user group, they can tune in to everyone. That being, let's say, the human world here on Earth, or a realm of reptilians when they're like working with their scientists, or any kind of spaceship, any kind of human world or other worlds. And they're tuning in, and it's not just sort of like listening to sort of generalities. No, they get like deep within, like person to person. They can connect to the captain of the ship, they can connect to the secret like sort of channels where it's kind of like blocked and sort of protected, defended, but not really, because these guys can bypass the securities and just connect to the really deep stuff. And with that, they have intentions to listening and finding out the best places. Best places, civilizations, massive amounts of people that they can sacrifice and summon demons and take over the world and take over other beings and control them. And it's kind of like, oh, look, this world has a lot of materials, a lot of resources, a lot of crystals and technologies. We need that stuff. But instead of actually having some sort of deal like, hey, could we trade something or whatever, they're not even thinking there. They're not going into that. What these humans, these black magic user group is doing, they're like, okay, specifically this group has technology we want. And they were pretty good, they're pretty defended, so we're not gonna make a deal with them, we're gonna find someone who could fight them. And instead of making a deal with someone who could fight them, we are gonna manipulate both groups. And they can sort of transmit this channel, this broadcast into, hey, we need help, blah, blah, blah. And they're gonna be saying this message, some sort of like crap is going to be completely off topic, but people are like, oh, well, it fits me. I'm the helper. I am the fighter. I can help. I can do this. And it's kind of like pleasing people with whatever the crap you want. It's kind of like walking up to a person saying, like the person looks really crappy and you're like, hey, you're beautiful. And it's kind of like just making shit up to make someone feel better, but it's all lies to get something from you. So with that said, this black magic user group sends out a message into both parties saying stuff, but the message is sort of enchanted that the listeners will be taken over. And all of a sudden, the black magic users are like channelers, and they can control the body of those that have heard the message. So think of the whole fleet, the captain or the ruler of the world or something, all of a sudden going, huh, let's fight a group out of the blue. Like, there is no reason, we're just going to sacrifice ourselves because we have no way of beating those guys, but why not? Let's go, guys. And all of a sudden, they make worst decisions possible. And basically, this third party group, the black magic users, end up causing a lot of miscommunication, a lot of wars, a lot of chaos between tons of other beings, between tons of other realms that never, in the first place, wanted to fight each other at all. And think of that. There are people, one of us, for example, living in one of those worlds. We are like actually like, hey, the whole world is like, we're the healers, we're the teachers, we're sending out the messages, we're connecting to those and trying to help out, blah, blah, blah. And their group is like, we're the fighters, we're the scientists, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're just like, make up the story. But think of yourself in one of these worlds, and all of a sudden, your leader of your world gets taken over and says, all of you have to go into the war. And you're like, well, the leader says so. And basically, you have your own beliefs, your own dogma, and all the crap. And both parties end up fighting each other. You're just listening to rules, you're just trying to be a decent being. And all of a sudden, you end up in war with other groups who are also being controlled. And now these groups fighting each other, they don't know anything about the third party that controls them in the first place. But they're fighting each other and they become the biggest enemies. And one of these parties are going to win. And let's say you are the good guy and you win and you defeated the bad guys. But all the bad guys know these beings that attacked us and that destroy our people and all this stuff, they're the bad ones. And we're going to hold grudge on them and we hate them and we're going to hunt them down in our lifetimes. And basically, some beings do make those decisions. It's not like, let's say, you go into the forest and you start killing animals. Oh, that's bad. But you kill a wolf, like, oh, well, the wolves are eating my sheep, so fuck you. And like all of a sudden you start killing wolf. You kill two wolves, a mother, and then there's a few puppies. And some puppies will not survive. Some of them will be like running away and doing their own thing. But one puppy will see your face and you're like, this motherfucker, I'm going to find you when I grow up and I'm going to kill you. And this one little being will hold on to that thing. You ruin their life. They're going to find you and they're going to destroy you, like some sort of movie, right? But basically, think of the scenario with advanced beings out there in the fourth dimension. They have been controlled. They have been used as puppets into the war, into miscommunication, all this stuff. And all of a sudden, we are the ones that cause pain, and we cause pain to someone else. Now, that group that have been in pain, they think that we are the bad guys. Like you were one of out of the group that ended up causing them pain. And so a lot of time passes and you end up here on Earth. And you're doing your thing, doo-doo, working here on Earth, just trying to survive and all this stuff. But you have the worst kind of luck on Earth. You're being messed with. You have some crazy stuff going on. You have anxieties and depressions and thinking like, why am I always being attacked? Why am I always going through this and that and that? And we're focusing and we're targeting, let's say, oh, well, yeah, like I feel some entities. I feel some, like, let's say, archangels messing with me. I feel that and that and that. And eventually we might sort of like dig into the information. Oh, there's this group, like I've had a past life with them and they're the ones attacking me. They're the ones holding grudge on me. Well, great. You found a group that was manipulated, same as you back then. And while they hold the grudge on you, no one is actually seeing that there was a third party in the background controlling both of you. And it's kind of like, with that in mind, a lot of times when we're trying to clear out our issues in life, we're focusing on a group that is targeting us directly without knowing or understanding that there's someone else, the third party, controlling both of you in the background. It's like, how great can it be when someone can be an scapegoat? When someone, like, you watch two people fight and you're like, oh, great, I'm just gonna get everything once they die. And you're just enjoying the fight while like waiting, like, okay, they're just gonna kill each other. I'm just gonna wait a little while. And it's basically the bad guys. They're not gonna even try to show up. They're gonna be quiet and like, just go all about doo-doo. Let's make sure we make it a believable thing. And they're going to cause this whole fuss. And we're like, oh, like reptilians are the worst. And like the mantis are the worst. And we're targeting certain groups because they're causing us damage. And yeah, like, you know, you've had a fight with them and both parties might have made decisions. But if you go into that time like, hey, look, person, I'm sorry that I have caused you pain, but listen me out. Both you and me have been manipulated. And when you hold your consciousness like a torch of light and you're saying like, hey, both you and I, we have been manipulated. And when you tell them the story, they'll understand what happened. And this group that have been targeting you for years and years, lifetime after lifetime, will know that, oh shit, I've been targeting the wrong person in the first place. I'm sorry. And this group will back off. Like they have no need to attack you anymore because they understand that the whole thing, you're not a problem at all. It's just someone else in the background. So if both parties can be like, whoa, we've been controlled. We've been made to fight each other. So how about we become friends and fight the ones we have not noticed before? So with that in mind, a lot of us, we can start targeting the beings that have been messing with us. But instead of like trying to destroy them or get rid of them, let's find the ones that are controlling them in the background. And I'm not saying that every single group will be like that. There's a lot of groups that will just be, let's say, bored as fuck and just try to mess with you, or they have their own intentions or whatever, or maybe you're pissing someone off. Like, come on. Some people are like, man, if I could get out of body, I would kill those motherfuckers. Like, I just want humanity to be good. I just want humanity to be safe and blah, blah, blah. And you have a great intention of helping. You have a great intention of keeping people safe, sharing the light, and actually destroying those beings that have pissed you off and controlled humanity for so long. But knowing how good you are, how powerful you are, of course you're going to become a target. Of course you're going to get limited into getting out of body and all this stuff. Like, if they know and they pick up your intentions of like, oh shit, if this being gets out of body and it attacks us, oh, we're doomed. Let's not make that happen. And all of a sudden we're like, why can't I get out of body? Why this happens? Well, they pick up on your intentions. They know that you're like freaking strong, you're powerful. And if you end up out there, it's not good. So I'm just saying there's a lot involved, and like, not saying that every single group will have someone in the background controlling them, but it's always like follow the hierarchy, find the ones at the top, take them out, and the whole structure will fall apart. And that being said, like, I don't know, like, there's a lot going on in the multiverse, a lot I'm willing to share, and just over like, oh, I like no stuff, like just talk about it for a little bit. So hopefully this will give you a new insight or a new way to look at things, and maybe one of these things will help you deal with your issues. So that being said, I think I'm done with this video, and I'll see you next one. Bye-bye.